Nobody is coming to save you, and the clock you keep ignoring is the same clock that's burying your potential. You wasted another year convincing yourself you'd start tomorrow. And here you are. Same habits, same excuses, same results. The world doesn't care about your intentions. It only responds to your actions. If you don't break your own cycle, life will break you. Pain is the price of progress, but the pain of staying the same is far worse. Every second you delay is a second someone more hungry steals from you. You say you want change, but desire without discipline is a fantasy. You say you want success, but comfort is your addiction. You say you're tired of losing, yet you keep choosing the behaviors that guarantee defeat. If you don't build the life you want, you'll be forced to live the life you fear. Wake up, stand up, move now. Not tomorrow, not next week, not January 1st. Today, because your future self is screaming at you to stop wasting time. Life doesn't reward the dreamers, it rewards the relentless. And until you become relentless, you will always be replaceable. Discipline is the foundation of freedom. Without it, you'll forever be a slave to your emotions. People don't realize how dangerous it is to live a life controlled by impulses, laziness, fear, and temporary feelings. The truth is simple. If you don't command yourself, the world will command you. If you don't discipline your habits will discipline your life into mediocrity. Discipline is not about punishment, it's about power. It's the ability to look at your excuses and choose action anyway. It's the courage to do what must be done even when you feel weak, tired, emotional, lost, or uninspired. Every person who has ever built something great had to silence the voice inside that whispered, "Not today." Without discipline, your goals remain daydreams, your potential remains locked, and your future becomes a repetition of your past. Without discipline, every time life hits you, you break. Every time obstacles appear, you quit. Every time doubt rises, you retreat. People keep praying for strength while refusing to walk the path that creates it. They want the rewards of discipline while living in the comfort of chaos. They want success but insist on keeping their weakness. They want progress without paying its price. But greatness never bows to wishful thinking. Greatness only bows to discipline. When you build discipline, you become untouchable. You stop chasing motivation and start generating momentum. You stop waiting for the right moment and make every moment right. You stop letting emotions dictate your destiny. Emotions fluctuate, discipline does not. Motivation fades, discipline stays. Comfort lies, discipline tells the truth. Discipline is waking up when you said you would. Discipline is working when no one is watching. Discipline is sacrificing short-term pleasure for long-term power. It is the invisible engine behind every success story, every transformation, every comeback. You can't fake discipline, but once you have it, no one can take it from you. People who lack discipline always blame circumstances. They blame time, blame opportunities, blame their past, blame their stress, blame everything except their inaction. But disciplined people understand that life bends for the ones willing to grind. They know progress isn't built on perfect conditions. It's built on consistency. They understand that discipline is the bridge between intention and accomplishment. It's the difference between someone who says, "I wish," and someone who says, "I will." When you are disciplined, you no longer need someone to push you. You become your own engine. You become your own authority. You become your own savior. Discipline makes you dangerous because it gives you control, not over others, but over yourself. Most people don't even realize they are imprisoned. They wake up tired because they sleep at random hours. They're anxious because they have no order. They feel lost because they have no direction. They feel weak because they avoid difficult things. They feel overwhelmed because they let life lead them instead of leading life. That's why discipline feels harsh to people who have lived too long in comfort. Discipline is not your enemy, it's your liberation. It frees you from regret. It frees you from chaos. It frees you from your own destructive patterns. It frees you from the version of yourself that has been holding you back for years. When you embrace discipline, you stop wasting time. You stop entertaining distractions. You stop giving energy to meaningless things. You stop living like life is infinite. You start valuing each hour. You start respecting your time, your goals, your potential. Discipline is the moment you choose purpose over pleasure. It is the moment you stop negotiating with weakness. It is the moment you realize that the life you want is on the other side of actions you've been avoiding. Discipline forces you to evolve. It forces you to grow. It forces you to become the person capable of living the life you dream of. You don't need to be the strongest, the smartest, or the most talented. You just need discipline. With discipline, the average becomes unstoppable. With discipline, the weak become strong. With discipline, the lost find direction. With discipline, dreams turn into plans and plans turn into achievements. Your life won't change because you want it to. Your life will change because you become disciplined enough to do the work relentlessly, repeatedly, ruthlessly. The harsh truth is this: if you don't build discipline, you will spend your entire life running from your own potential. You will watch others win while you stay trapped in cycles you created. You will regret the years you wasted waiting for motivation that never lasted. Discipline is not optional if you want freedom, success, confidence, power, or peace. Discipline is the price of every life worth living. And the moment you master it, you master yourself. Discipline is the foundation of freedom. Without it, you'll forever be a slave to your emotions. People underestimate how dangerous it is to let their feelings dictate their choices. The human mind is naturally weak when left unmanaged. It will choose comfort over growth, distraction over focus, pleasure over purpose, and excuses over execution every single time unless you train it through discipline. Without discipline, you become a hostage to your own moods, working only when you feel like it, quitting whenever life becomes difficult, and abandoning every goal the moment discomfort appears. That isn't freedom. That's imprisonment. Real freedom comes from being able to command yourself, not collapse under yourself. Real freedom comes from building habits so strong that even on your worst days, you still move forward. Discipline makes your actions consistent, and consistency makes your results inevitable. Every dream you have is locked behind a wall of discipline. You don't lack ambition, you lack structure. You don't lack intelligence, you lack consistency. You don't lack opportunities, you lack the ability to follow through. People fail not because their dreams are impossible, but because they never build the discipline to make progress every day, even when progress feels slow. Emotion-driven people wait for motivation, and motivation is temporary. They wait for the right moment, as if life is supposed to adjust itself for them. Discipline-driven people create the moment. They don't hope for better days. They build better days with their choices, their habits, and their endurance. Discipline is the force that separates those who achieve from those who only wish. Most people want greatness, but they want it while still clinging to the comfort of laziness. They want success without sacrifice. They want progress without pressure. They want transformation without tears. But discipline doesn't negotiate. It demands everything. It demands early mornings, late nights, uncomfortable decisions, and self-control when your emotions scream the opposite. Discipline is lonely because most people fear it. They fear structure. They fear responsibility. They fear giving up pleasure. But what they don't realize is that avoiding discipline creates a more painful life in the long run, a life full of regret, self-hate, wasted potential, and repeated mistakes. When you live without discipline, you live on repeat. Every year feels the same because you are the same. Your goals remain dreams, your habits remain weak, your problems remain unsolved. You find yourself trapped in cycles you desperately want to escape, but you cannot break cycles with the same undisciplined behaviors that created them. Discipline is the knife that cuts you free. It is the decision to stop letting emotions run your life. It is the moment you say, "This ends with me." Discipline realigns you with your future instead of your feelings. It forces you to choose what matters over what feels good. It forces you to do the hard things that build the strong version of yourself you keep imagining. People who build discipline become unstoppable not because they never feel tired, unmotivated, or doubtful, but because they refuse to let those feelings win. They move anyway. They act anyway. They push anyway. And the world respects them for it. Life bends for the disciplined. Opportunities open for the disciplined. Success accelerates for the disciplined. You gain a confidence that can't be purchased, a power that can't be faked, a stability that can't be shaken. When discipline becomes your default, everything in your life rises: your health, your finances, your mind, your relationships, your self-worth. Some people think discipline limits them, but the opposite is true. Lack of discipline limits you. When you are controlled by emotions, you are unpredictable. You waste time, lose focus, and drift through life. But when discipline guides you, you gain control. You gain clarity. You gain direction. You gain the freedom to build any life you choose because you finally possess the consistency needed to reach it. Discipline is the ultimate form of self-respect. Proof that you believe in your future more than your excuses. If you want a different life, you must build a different level of discipline. There is no shortcut. There is no hack. There is only the daily battle between the version of you that wants comfort and the version of you that wants greatness. And the version you feed will win. The question is simple. Will you continue letting emotions dictate your life, or will you rise and build the discipline that leads to freedom? Because until you do, you will remain trapped in the same cycles, the same patterns, and the same excuses. Discipline is the key. Without it, you'll always be controlled by your weaker self. With it, you become unstoppable. Discipline is the foundation of freedom. Without it, you'll forever be a slave to your emotions. People talk about wanting freedom, wanting to control their life, wanting peace, wanting success, wanting respect, but they refuse the very thing that creates all of it: discipline. Without discipline, you are driven by impulses like a ship tossed around by waves with no captain. One day you're motivated, the next you're empty. One day you're determined, the next you're distracted. One moment you want to change your life, the next moment you're scrolling, procrastinating, drifting. That is not freedom. That is emotional slavery. You become a prisoner of your moods, constantly pulled in different directions by whatever feeling shows up that day. Discipline isn't about being strict for no reason. Discipline is about earning the right to live life on your terms, not your emotions' terms. This world doesn't reward the emotional. It rewards the consistent. Your emotions come and go, but your actions decide your destiny. People who rely on emotions are inconsistent because emotions are inconsistent. They rise, fall, twist, and change. If your life is built on that unstable foundation, everything in your life becomes unpredictable: your results, your progress, your confidence, your sense of purpose. One bad mood can ruin your entire week. One moment of doubt can destroy a dream. One wave of laziness can kill a habit you fought months to build. But discipline gives you stability. It gives you structure. It gives you control. It is the armor you wear in the war against your weaker self. Every successful person you admire, every leader, warrior, athlete, entrepreneur, and achiever, they all share one trait: they stop negotiating with their emotions. They know emotions are temporary, but their goals are permanent. They understand that feelings can't be trusted because feelings change based on weather, stress, sleep, environment, and random events. Discipline is what carries you when motivation disappears. Discipline is what pushes you when doubt arrives. Discipline is what keeps you moving when everything inside you wants to stop. It's not glamorous. It's not easy, but it's powerful. The world respects those who can control themselves because self-control is rare and becoming rarer. Most people lose not because life defeats them, but because their emotions defeat them long before life even tries. They get angry and quit. They get tired and give up. They get bored and lose focus. They get scared and run. They get sad and stop trying. Without discipline, your emotions become your master, dictating your choices, your days, your habits, and ultimately your life. But when you build discipline, you become the master. You become the one who decides how the day goes. You become the one who decides what gets done. You become the one who decides your direction rather than letting life choose it for you. Discipline is freedom because it frees you from your own limitations. It frees you from your own excuses. It frees you from the weakness that has been holding you back for years. With discipline, you no longer live on the edge of your potential. You live inside it. Your goals stop being fantasies and start becoming responsibilities. Your habits stop being temporary and become part of who you are. When you wake up early, even when you don't feel like it, you gain freedom. When you go to the gym, even when you're tired, you gain freedom. When you work on your goals, even when your emotions resist, you gain freedom. Freedom is not the absence of restraint. It's the reward that comes from controlling yourself. Think about the people who live without discipline. Their lives are chaotic. They sleep late, wake up tired, rush through their day, waste hours, feel guilty, make promises they break, start things they never finish, feel overwhelmed, complain about time, envy others, and repeat the same cycle over and over. They feel trapped because they are trapped. Trapped by emotions they never learned to control. Trapped by habits they never took command of. Trapped by the very comfort they cling to. And the worst part, They call this freedom, but it's not freedom, it's slow destruction. Now think about someone disciplined. Their life is not perfect, but it is intentional. They control their time. They control their actions. They control their focus. They control their environment. They control their progress. Their days compound into results. Their habits compound into strength. And their choices compound into success. That is freedom. Freedom to build. Freedom to grow. Freedom to achieve. Freedom to become someone you're proud of. Discipline is the enemy of excuses, and excuses are the enemy of freedom. Every time you choose discipline, you build a stronger version of yourself. Every time you choose emotions, you strengthen your weakness. The difference between the person you are and the person you want to be is the discipline you avoid. If you want to rise, you must force your emotions to follow your purpose, not the other way around. If you want real freedom, build discipline. Without it, you'll always be controlled by the parts of yourself that fear growth. With it, you become unstoppable. Discipline is the foundation of freedom. Without it, you'll forever be a slave to your emotions. Most people think freedom means doing whatever they want, whenever they want, living according to their feelings. But that is not freedom. That is chaos disguised as choice. Real freedom comes when you no longer let moods, whims, or temporary comfort dictate your life. Without discipline, your emotions become the chains that bind you. Anger, fear, laziness, boredom, sadness, frustration, they all take control, and you drift wherever they push you. One day you feel motivated and you work. The next day you feel tired and you quit. One moment you are determined, the next distracted. 1 week productive, the next stuck. That is not freedom. That is slavery to the mind's inconsistencies. Discipline is the key that unlocks the cage. It allows you to act consistently, no matter how you feel, no matter what circumstances surround you. It is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Without discipline, your life is a constant battle between intention and impulse. You think you want success, wealth, health, or respect, but every day you give in to fleeting desires. You postpone, you distract, you justify, you procrastinate. You say you'll start tomorrow, next week, or January 1st, and every day your emotions make you weak. Motivation is temporary, but discipline is permanent. Discipline doesn't require feelings, it requires action. It doesn't wait for inspiration, it creates it. Those who rely solely on feelings are doomed to repeat the same cycles forever. The world doesn't reward feelings, it rewards results, and results are born from disciplined action. Discipline gives you control over yourself. Imagine waking up every morning with purpose, with direction, with habits that are unshakeable. Imagine moving through life not based on how you feel, but on what must be done. Imagine never being swayed by distraction, fear, or laziness. Discipline allows you to master yourself, your routines, your focus, and your decisions. It transforms weakness into strength and inconsistency into reliability. The people who achieve greatness in any field are disciplined, not because they are naturally stronger or smarter, but because they can control themselves when others cannot. While emotions fluctuate, discipline remains constant. It is the unmovable force that keeps you progressing when everything else seems uncertain. Without discipline, the simplest challenges become mountains. Every obstacle feels insurmountable because you have no inner structure to lean on. Every rejection feels like failure because you depend on external validation to keep going. Every setback becomes an excuse to quit because your life is built on emotions rather than principles. But discipline builds resilience. It builds endurance. It builds character. It gives you the ability to push through pain, to act under pressure, to continue when everything in you screams to stop. Discipline creates the mental toughness required to face life without fear, hesitation, or regret. It gives you the power to make choices that serve your long-term goals rather than your short-term comforts. People who lack discipline often think they are free. They do what they feel, chase pleasure, avoid discomfort, and call it liberation. But this is a lie. That kind of freedom is slavery disguised as choice. Every day, they are chained to the unpredictable tides of their emotions, reacting instead of acting. They are victims of themselves, constantly blaming circumstances, luck, or other people for their failures. Discipline flips that. Discipline makes you accountable. Discipline makes you responsible. Discipline empowers you to take command of your own life. It allows you to build routines, follow through on promises to yourself, and maintain focus even when the world conspires against you. Discipline is freedom because it liberates you from regret. Every time you act according to your principles rather than your impulses, you gain confidence. Every time you push yourself to do what is hard, you gain power. Every time you choose consistency over temporary pleasure, you build habits that serve you forever. People without discipline live with guilt, shame, and frustration because they are aware, deep down, that they are capable of more, but they keep giving in to weakness. Discipline gives you peace because it aligns your actions with your intentions. When your actions reflect your purpose, your emotions no longer rule you. You stop chasing motivation because you no longer need it. You stop relying on feelings because your habits and principles carry you. The most successful, wealthy, and respected people in history didn't get there by waiting to feel motivated. They didn't rely on emotions to dictate their progress. They built habits. They trained their minds. They stuck to routines. They forced themselves to act every day, regardless of feelings, pain, fatigue, or boredom. They understood that freedom is not the absence of structure. It is the reward of structure. Discipline is the invisible force behind every achievement, every transformation, and every life lived at its fullest potential. Without it, you are trapped. With it, you are unstoppable. Discipline allows you to invest in the long term while resisting short-term distractions. It allows you to focus on your goals when everyone else gives up. It allows you to maintain control over your mind, body, and actions. It is the silent engine behind every successful life, turning ordinary days into extraordinary results. The harsh truth is that until you cultivate discipline, your emotions will remain your master. Every decision you make will be swayed by what you feel, and every year of your life will slip by in frustration and regret. But when you embrace discipline, you become free, not free to indulge, but free to become, free to pursue your goals relentlessly, free to build the life you desire, free to be the person you were meant to be. Discipline is not a limitation, it is liberation. It is the ultimate form of power because it gives you command over the one thing that determines everything yourself. Discipline is the foundation of freedom. Without it, you'll forever be a slave to your emotions. Most people misunderstand what freedom truly is. They think freedom is the ability to do whatever they feel like, whenever they feel like it. They imagine a life where choices are guided by whims, desires, and moods. But that is not freedom, that is chaos masquerading as liberty. Without discipline, every decision you make is dictated by temporary feelings. You wake up tired and skip the work that matters. You get frustrated and lash out at the people around you. You feel lazy and waste hours scrolling through distractions. You feel anxious and avoid the hard tasks that could change your life. You feel insecure and compare yourself to others instead of focusing on your own progress. Your emotions become the boss, and you become their obedient servant. True freedom is not about indulging impulses, it is about mastering them. Discipline is what separates those who control their lives from those who are controlled by them. It is the force that allows you to act despite fear, fatigue, boredom, or doubt. Discipline is the bridge between your current self and the life you dream of living. Without discipline, life is a series of reactive choices. You respond to situations instead of shaping them. You wait for motivation that never comes. You hope for inspiration instead of creating it through action. You delay because feelings are unreliable. They fluctuate and betray you constantly. One day you feel strong, the next week. One week you feel unstoppable, the next week defeated. 1 hour you feel focused, the next distracted. If your actions are tied to emotions, your life will be inconsistent, chaotic, and unsatisfying. You might think you are living freely, but in reality, you are a prisoner to moods, impulses, and temporary desires. Discipline gives you stability. It is the anchor that keeps you steady when life tries to pull you in every direction. It allows you to build habits, routines, and systems that make you unstoppable regardless of how you feel. Discipline is the tool that transforms your intentions into results. Discipline is also the ultimate form of self-respect. When you discipline yourself, you demonstrate that you value your time, your energy, and your goals more than momentary comfort. It is easy to follow impulses, to give in to laziness, to avoid responsibility, and to chase pleasure. But it takes real strength to choose the hard path, to do what is necessary even when you feel like quitting, to focus on long-term growth over short-term gratification. Every time you act according to discipline rather than emotion, you build confidence, self-trust, and inner power. You reinforce the belief that you can control your actions, your habits, and ultimately your life. Without this self-mastery, you remain dependent on circumstances and emotions, always at the mercy of whatever life throws at you. With discipline, you gain independence, the ability to live life on your terms. People who lack discipline often live with frustration, regret, and guilt. They are aware deep down that they are capable of more, but they continue to give in to weakness. They start projects and never finish them, make promises they never keep, and watch opportunities pass while they hesitate. Every year passes like this, leaving a trail of lost potential and unfulfilled dreams. Emotions rule their actions, and they find themselves repeating the same mistakes over and over. But when you build discipline, you break these cycles. You take control of your decisions, prioritize your actions, and create a life that reflects your true ambitions. You are no longer a victim of moods or circumstances. You are the architect of your destiny. Discipline also builds resilience. Life is unpredictable, full of challenges, setbacks, and failures. Without discipline, every obstacle feels insurmountable, and every failure becomes a reason to quit. Emotions flare, frustration rises, and most people give in. Discipline trains you to persist despite discomfort. It teaches you to endure, to push through pain, to act when fear is present, and to continue when motivation fades. The more disciplined you become, the stronger your mental and emotional muscles grow. You stop being a reactive person who crumbles under pressure. Instead, you become proactive, prepared, and unstoppable. Discipline allows you to face adversity without losing control. It turns chaos into order and weakness into strength. Another crucial aspect of discipline is time mastery. Without discipline, time slips through your fingers like sand. You waste hours on trivial things, postpone meaningful tasks, and chase distractions because your emotions guide you. You think you have time, but time waits for no one. Discipline forces you to respect your schedule, prioritize your goals, and take meaningful action consistently. Every hour you dedicate with focus and purpose compounds into progress, while every hour lost to impulse compounds into regret. When you master discipline, you master time. You stop reacting to the day and start creating it. You stop living at the mercy of circumstance and begin living intentionally. Discipline is also contagious. The more you control yourself, the more influence you have over your environment. Your habits inspire others. Your consistency earns respect. Your self-control attracts opportunities. People notice those who act with intention, who honor their commitments, and who maintain focus despite challenges. Discipline creates an aura of power, competence, and reliability. Without it, you fade into the background, controlled by whims, distractions, and emotional turbulence. With it, you become someone who commands their own life, earns the trust of others, and creates opportunities that would never come to the undisciplined. Ultimately, discipline is freedom because it liberates you from yourself. It frees you from the chaos of emotional slavery. It frees you from excuses, laziness, and distraction. It frees you from fear, doubt, and indecision. With discipline, you are no longer a prisoner of moods, circumstances, or short-term desires. You become the master of your actions, the architect of your habits, and the author of your life. It is the ultimate investment in yourself because it compounds over time, building momentum, power, and results that emotion-driven people can only dream of. Without discipline, you remain a slave to fleeting feelings and wasted potential. With discipline, you gain freedom, the freedom to live the life you were meant to live, to achieve what you were meant to achieve, and to become the person you were meant to. Word passage following your instructions. You've wasted another year staying in the same place, believing that someday, somehow, life will change for you. The harsh truth is this: it won't. Every day you wait for motivation, for the perfect timing, for someone to push you forward. You are letting your dreams rot while excuses get stronger. The world doesn't care about your feelings, your doubts, or your fears. Life rewards those who take action, who refuse to bow to weakness, who discipline themselves when nobody is watching. Comfort is a trap and procrastination is a cage. The longer you wait, the heavier the chains become and the further your goals drift away. Every successful person you admire has one thing in common. They did not wait for motivation. They created momentum. They acted when they were tired, scared, or uncertain. They mastered themselves before mastering anything else. The lesson here is simple yet brutal. If you continue to let emotions control you, You will remain stuck forever. Your freedom, your progress, your future, it all begins with one thing: action. Stop waiting, stop hesitating. Start now, enforce discipline in every choice, and build a life that cannot be taken from you. Your time is now, use it.